Chair now recognizes the gentleman from California.
Director Patel, as you know, my state, California, is home to the worst public infrastructure failure in U.S. history, known as California High-Speed Rail, although the name is probably a misnomer. Earlier this year, I joined your counterpart at the Department of Transportation, Sean Duffy, doing a compliance review of the federal money the state has received, and the outcome was that the state has not complied with the terms of its billions of dollars in funding because it hasn't actually built anything. And so that federal funding has now been cut off, but a lot of us in California still have questions as to where all the money went. We're 17 years in to this project, and absolutely nothing has been built. Not a single bit of track has been laid. There are no stations, there are no passengers, and the plan initially was to have the whole thing, LA to San Francisco, done by 2020 at a cost of $33 billion. Yet here we are in 2025, nothing has been built, and according to the New York Times, the project won't even be completed this century, and the total cost is now estimated to be over $130 billion. So I just wanted to ask you, do you think this is something that bears scrutiny, or can you confirm whether there's any kind of investigation going on at the FBI?
The FBI certainly can't investigate incompetence, but the FBI certainly can investigate and does investigate waste, fraud, and abuse. And so if we have any information that indicates that that happened in this situation or anything else, we'll look at it.
Thank you very much. We've also, been talking some today about the issues that occurred at the border during the Biden administration. You might not agree with your predecessor on everything, but you probably would agree with some of the statements he made in testimony before this and other committees, raising alarms about the risk of terrorism from illegal border crossings. Since becoming director, have you gotten some insight into how well calibrated those warnings were, and what is the status of that risk now?
Since becoming director, there's been a sharp decrease of border crossings for known or suspected terrorists from the southern border. But unfortunately, there has been a sharp increase of known or suspected terrorists entering through our northern border. And so what I'm trying to do is work with our northern border states and our interagency to tackle that problem. But it is an absolutely massive border that can't physically be sealed. So we're going to have to get creative and put more resources into that.
And in a similar vein, there were over 500,000 unaccompanied children that crossed the southern border during the Biden administration. As we know, many were trafficked either through forced labor or sex trafficking. Do you have any insight as to what the scale of that problem was and how have things changed over the last several months?
Other than what you outlined in terms of how it was described, I don't have any additional details. In terms of how many people are being trafficked into this country, especially unaccompanied missing children, that number has drastically reduced because the coyotes that smuggle these children for their criminal activity are the same ones that smuggle in narcotics, or the same one that traffic older age women. They're all interconnected, and because of the sealing of the southern border by this administration, that has come to a near halt.
That is a very important point, that we have seen far fewer victims of human trafficking because we've finally prioritized border security. And by the way, you have children who are getting rescued because of the immigration enforcement activities that unfortunately some politicians in my state are trying to stop, thereby stopping those kids from getting rescued. We've seen, of course, a substantial reduction in crime here in Washington, D.C. since the FBI and the National Guard got involved. I'm kind of asking you to state the obvious here, but what is the mechanism there? Why have we seen a reduction of crime when DC has had such a huge crime problem for years, and then almost overnight we see such a big difference?
Because of the dedication and resources from President Trump's administration to utilize all federal, state, and local assets in a heavily crime-ridden area. I mean, if we did not have a crime-ridden area, then homicides, carjackings, and gun violence would not be dropping by 40, 50, 60%. And when you allow the police, the MPD, to work with federal authorities and allow the National Guard to set up your perimeter, this is what you can do in a few short weeks. And we at the FBI, under Operation Summer Heat, have set those Phase 01 operations in motion 4 months ago, quietly at the direction of President Trump. So we are scattered across cities across this country doing just that. But we're going to need more help to complete the job.
Yeah, in too many places in this country, crime has just been treated as sort of a norm, that this is the way things have to be. What's happened in D.C. shows that is not the case if we have the right policies and the right priorities. Finally, this is tragically the second time in as many years that we've had an FBI director here following either an assassination or an assassination attempt. And so since there's been some time now since from the attempted assassination on President Trump at Butler, would you say that the public's understanding of what took place on that day is fairly consistent with all of the facts as you know them, or do you believe there's still material facts that have not been made public or are not fully understood by the public?
No, I think it's fairly consistent.
Thank you. I yield.
Gentleman yields back. The lady from Texas is recognized.
Man, oh man, there has been so much